So we've been trying to get this water meter installed on our property for 50 something days. It was August 8th when we paid the money to get the meter installed and get service connected. August 8th. Today is October 1st. And I just got a text message saying that they're on their way to come bore under the road and get the meter set. Cool, right? Well, I want to record that process, but today I've got to get this pipe unfloated. So this is the lowest part of the lowest part of the trench, and I didn't cover anything because I wanted to pressure test everything before I covered it. The meter was supposed to be installed last week, which is why I did this last week. Well, we got a bunch of rain, so at just the lowest point, it's not the end of the world, but at the lowest point the pipe floated, and it's a deep trench. So I've got a couple things. Let me show you the plan. I brought a 20 volt DeWalt drill, battery drill, and I've got several batteries. So my wife is going to run the Harbor Freight pump, pumping this trench out down that direction. And I think I'm going to try and get the pipe lifted and out and suspended with a couple 2x4s over the trench, dig it all out, put it all back in, and hopefully by then they will be up there with the meter working, and we can fill this with water so it stays to the bottom, pressure test it for the first time, and then we can bury it with the tractor. Burying it with the tractor is not going to be too much fun because I only have a borrowed box blade that doesn't really do good in the pushing direction. Like pushing backwards. So we'll get it done, but it's probably gonna be more shovel work than what I want. Yeah, hands are gonna get super filthy. There's a clean spot if you wanna grab the pipe right there. The plan is to lift it up and go on this side, because this side is on the inside of this curve, so we should have more slack to go this way. I've got a 2x4 right here. Let me get you one for your side. I think there's an extra in the truck. Let me know when you're ready. All right, you got it. Right, now this allows us an opportunity to find to create a spot that will continuously fill with water for the pump. Do what you got to do. There should be a spot deep enough to start the pump again. All right, now we just need to make sure that this stays underwater. Just let it do its thing, and then oh, this stuff's like cement. Yeah, it will.
You already hear water coming through.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's working now with a bigger battery and all set?
No, it's not working. This is speed 1. Speed 2 is the same. Speed 2 went out. Like, there's not that much use on this drill. And there you go. Speed 2 is out. Okie dokie. Let's move on. And now we wait. Gotta get all the water out, and then dig out until we find a depth we like. These Velcro straps, or sections of Velcro, I guess you could say, are awesome.
So,
super handy on the property. I'm hoping this speeds it up, because I didn't think that was producing much water flow right then. All right, that wasn't providing adequate water flow. I tried to flatten it with some pliers, like that, but it just wants to collapse right back onto itself. So we move it up a little bit. This one goes on bottom, this one on top. All right, let's see what this does. Probably gonna have to reverse it to prime it. Not much we can do until that catches up and drains this bottom section of pipe. No way, you're already done. This drill, this is like a brand new drill, barely any use on it. Brand new flex volt battery. It doesn't feel hot. The battery is full. Yep, 3 bars on a huge 9 amp hour 20 volt battery. Why'd you stop? Does it have like a max runtime timer to shut it off? If so, that's gonna suck. I wonder if I have a squeeze clamp in there. That'd be easier.
Here, well, while you're looking at me.
Yeah, you keep this going and I'll go look. Oh boy. This toolbox is in disarray. I don't have a place to put anything, so it becomes a catch-all. And anything that's a catch-all is not organized. And that kind of drives me crazy. Not sure if this is going to be any faster to on-off it, but we'll see. Man, that hose has this whole thing as a rainbow right now. I don't know if I have the GoPro set right at the right angle, but just this far end of this puddle has developed this chemical haze on top of the water. And it's from these hoses. We're using these hoses, well, we did use this hose when we first got to the campsite where we're at now for supplying the camper. And quickly realized that these are not water safe hoses like they say they are. You get this weird, disgusting film that comes out of the faucet every time you use these hoses for supply. So before we got a water safe, well, another water safe hose, we use this one and we run the water, like flush the hose every time we use the water before we actually got into the water, like for showers and whatnot. So there you go. Drinking safe water hoses with this stuff that you would otherwise be drinking. It's crazy. Alright, so we got some decent water flow through here. Let's make it a little bit better. Not much, but just a little bit better. Spider web right in my eyelashes. Fun times. What I'm doing now is somewhat unnecessary once this problem is fixed with this water. I just don't want the water to be backing up to where I'm working. This is plenty enough flow for regular drainage, which is why this ditch is here to begin with. Just want to make sure we're not backing up at all where I'm working. And this continues to flow down, 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 down. There's some high spots, but this is doing what I wanted it to do. All right, good flow downhill. I'm gonna keep going, keep this water moving away. We are deep in the woods. These bugs are brutal out here. I got bug spray all over me, and they won't leave me alone. Oh, there's some deer tracks through here. Nice deer tracks. Not incredibly big, but I'll take it. The good thing about working with mud is it's easy to dig through. The downside is it's just heavy. because it's, you know, it's water saturated. It's waterlogged. So it's just heavy. All right, that'll keep the water away from where we're working for sure. I don't think I had to do anything to begin with, but it doesn't hurt. Sure doesn't hurt. And all this gradually goes downhill that way. All right. Doing?
You couldn't bring it out. You're about 7 foot behind me.
7 foot behind you.
Yep.
7 more feet. Let's see. There it is. Somewhere. Oh, there it is.
Oh, it's an old water line. Back up. Plug comes out.
That's neat.
We want to go up there.
I've already tied in over there, bored underground through here, already shaped the ditch back to where it needs to be. They're filling in this now. Water line's going up to that box right there. And he's got the meter in his hand. They are working fast. The other two guys left with the ditch witch already. They're taking that back to the shop. Finally, the meter is set. Now, this is one of those situations where, like, I'm a little bit frustrated because it took so long. It took 54 days for the meter to be set from the time I paid the money for it to it actually being set. However, if there's anything that I've learned dealing with contractors and many different types of large equipment, it's just expect delays, because when we were clearing the 2 acres for the house and shop pad, both the dozer and the excavator went down in the same day. They were both broken in the same day. And here with this situation, I'm getting a little bit frustrated because I want the job done, and they the company that's contracted to do all the meter sets and whatnot had just a series of crazy things go wrong with their equipment and their trucks, and you know, it is what it is. So on one hand, like, I've got sympathy. I understand crap happens, and man, it sucks that them as a company had to go through all that stuff. But on the other hand, I still want my water set. Anyway, water meter is set. Everything is done. Let me show you what we got going on. I didn't want to shove the camera in everyone's face while we were doing this, and also, like, we came halfway through after they set up. Anyway, the meter box is just placed on top of the meter. He asked me if I wanted him to completely bury it and get it set for just this side out, or leave it all open. That way I can get all the piping done and then figure out the exact placement and whatnot. And that's the route I went with. So it's just sitting there. You can see the brass stub out on this side. I'll have to hook it up. I got to go from 3/4, that's a 3/4 male. I got to get some pipe and fittings to keep it at 3/4 up to the 2-inch pipe right here, and I'll just use a 2-inch by 3/4 bushing. Now, why would I be okay with 2-inch feeding, I'm sorry, 3/4 inch feeding 2-inch? Well, it's really all that's necessary. The whole point of this 2-inch right here is for volume. We're gonna have pressure at the property no matter what, but the 2-inch is for volume. So picture that 2-inch pipe in the trench down there as the tank on an air compressor, right? So the compressor itself is what's going to give you pressure. That's fine. The tank is what gives you lasting pressure, right? Does that make sense? So this 2-inch pipe is essentially a big water tank all the way down to the property, 1,240 something feet, until it necks down to 1 inch, and then 1 inch goes another 80 feet into the slab of the shop, and then that 1 inch will be reduced to 3/4 inside the shop. So we should have really good pressure throughout, and this 2-inch pipe gives us the volume to maintain that pressure. This is the first tee at the turnaround tree. I want to have a spigot over here. Hopefully the wind doesn't get me, but I'm going to have a, that's the plan. So I'm writing a list here to connect the dots at this location, and then we have a couple more that we have to map out and figure out what I need to get before we actually hook it up, which will be later today. Once it's hooked up, once we put water in it very slowly and very carefully so we don't stress the pipe, then we can use the tractor to start burying this. Now today is Tuesday. I would love to get all this done today on Tuesday. I don't care if I get it buried today, but I'd love to get the water running today and pressurized today. And then the next couple days I can bury it, and finally we'll be ready for gravel on the driveway. Are you ready for gravel on the driveway, babe? Been ready. Okay. So we're gonna go get some supplies and get this done. The furthest downhill spigot, or ball valve rather, the spigots are not hooked up yet, but the ball valve is open, so that'll drain when we turn the water on. And then right up here on the top of the first hill where the first spigot is, or yard hydrant, the ball valve is open, spraying off into the distance. So we're going to very slowly open this water valve for the first time. You ready for water on the property? Yeah, we're ready. All right, our zero reading is 25 gallons. Ready to watch this thing spin? I'm only going to open it a little bit. So I just cracked it open. Maybe a little bit more than that. All right, that's the first spigot location, or yard hydrant. I keep calling it the wrong thing. First yard hydrant location, that the valve is open, so that's essentially letting air out of the line, because the second half of this is all downhill. So we're going to fill up the bottom half first. We need to go to the other line, or the other end, and wait till water comes out of that ball valve. Turn it to about, I don't know, 10 or 15% open, just to let it trickle out, and then come back up here and get all the air out of the line on this other one. What did you say was the how many gallons did you say the 2-inch pipe had in your calculations?
What was it? 300 and something?
My wife just calculated how many gallons it would take to fill up the 2-inch pipe that we just laid. I ended up having to put the
322.
All right, so 322 gallons is what my wife just calculated for the 2-inch pipe. I ended up turning the valve wide open. I don't want to put a lot of pressure into the pipe, but all of the there's 2 other valves open on downstream, so it shouldn't be too much of a shock of pressure right now. We've got a lot to fill up. We're only at gallon number 220. So
Where are we at right now?
we're at 220. What number did you say? 3 something?
322.
Yeah, we got another 100 gallons to go before the calculations meet up with the volume.
But we're losing water too, so is it like that a true calculation?
True, you're right. I don't know. We're just gonna let it run for quite a while. We'll waste a bunch of water today, but we got to get all the you know, the acetone and all that crap from the cleaner and whatnot out of the pipeline anyway before we start using it.
Yeah.
Because we kind of have a hill in the line, a high spot in the line, I think we're going to get a bunch of air trapped up there for a little while, so it's probably going to take a little bit longer than normal to get that air bubble out. Luckily, we have that other hydrant, or that other drain closer towards the high side. So we're going to let this go for a little while. I just glued in a piece of extra pipe just to spray it over this berm so it floods the woods and not the rest of our clearing like we've been dealing with. So we've got a really good stream out of here. We're just getting rid of the air bubbles. Looks like we got some good drainage into the soil too. Not really flooding over here. All right, both valves are flowing freely with no sound of air, so we're going to shut it off and let it sit overnight and take more air. I forgot all my camera gear at the camper today, so I'm just recording the progress, I guess you could say. Doesn't make sense to go back and get it. So we have the main line coming in here. The shutoff valve for the spigot, or the yard hydrant, is in this pipe. So I can pop the cap off of that and use a wrench to turn that. This shutoff goes to the shop, and then the 2-inch the 2-inch ball valve going to future expansion. I put a box over it, a ground cover box over the top of it, and a trash bag over that, layered multiple times, and then buried it. So that when the time comes to expand, I can unbury that, or I can dig that up, I should say, and the 2-inch ball valve will be nice and clean and ready to tap into. These 2 caps These are 4-inch pipes. This is just my access to the shutoff valves. They're too tall right now. But once all the stuff settles, I'll cut them down a little bit lower. And I think I'm going to put a couple, like, almost like the boat tie-off, whatever those are called. Almost like a handle on the top of each one of these. That way I got something to grab to and pull up to take the caps off. The yard hydrant is 1.5 feet underground, completely encapsulated in rock, and there's rock below it as well. I cut the bottom out of a 5-gallon bucket, and I used the bucket kind of as a sleeve to hold the gravel, but also to stop dirt from infiltrating from the sides. Because the way that these work is when you shut the hydrant off, you don't want water up here because it'll freeze. So when you shut the hydrant off up here, it opens a valve down there, and whatever's in the shaft or in the riser here, it drains out into the gravel. If you have it packed in with dirt, well, it can't really drain out that well, and you risk freezing this. So you're supposed to put these in gravel. I think the 5-gallon bucket is at a good height to where I can bury it all the way around, so I don't see any of the blue, but you'll see this nice layer of gravel, and I can slope it away from it. So I think that's going to be a nice clean install. Another handy use for a bucket. I think I'm going to cover this with something movable, probably like a garden hose reel or something like that, or maybe even just a table, maybe a splash sink. I don't know. Regardless, these are kind of sort of in the way, but they won't be in the way that we're going to use them. So there's that. This is out of the way anyway from the main clearing. The main path is over here, so this is fine. Just fine. Same setup for this side. 5-gallon bucket of gravel below the bucket, and a shutoff valve. This is my plastic tool shutoff valve, just a 2-inch pipe with a U-shaped cutout at the end to turn stuff on and off. You ready? You got pretty dirty today. You glad to have water on the property? Yeah, of course you are. Ah, you get me wet. Oh, no. I got the hose, girl. I got the hose. I'll get you. No, I won't, because you're in my truck. My goodness, you always win. Not always. Be careful, it's slick. I'm a cheeky little what? Cheeky little. You're watching too much Bluey. No such thing. Girl, you gotta get in the truck. Hey, no more. I'm for real. No more. Clean off your feet and that's it. We gotta get in the truck. We gotta go. Just your feet. Just your feet. All right, now you stay there and I'm gonna get your shoes, all right? You stay there and I'm gonna get your shoes, okay? Yeah, this is gonna be a muddy mess until we get it straightened out. Here's the tool though. Just a cut like that. And then you can twist the ball valve with just one hand to turn it on and off. But the only reason we should shut those off is if we have to develop a problem with the yard hydrant though. So I don't think we will. I'm just gonna set the tool here. And we got to go. Hey, stay there so I get your shoes, okay?